My name is Honey Cronenberg. I am 102.
I met Honey through her husband, George, who was in the fabric business. I was in the garment business, and he used to come in 2 or 3 days a week into the office. I would buy fabric. I was one of his best customers, and we became socially friendly. And in 1990, George died of stomach cancer. And 1994, my wife died of breast cancer. We've been married 21 years. We were together another 4 years.
I don't remember when I was losing my vision. Haven't had it for a long time since I've been here. Ask Gene if he remembers when I started.
Was it when you were playing tennis?
Yeah, when I went for a backhand and I missed it, I knew that something was not right.
The diagnosis of macular degeneration probably occurred for my mother when she was in her late 90s. She played tennis until she was 95.
It was a great activity for me.
We were going to get our glasses at the optician, our yearly checkup, Dr. Glassman, and he gave her a chart on the wall, and he says, watch it, you're getting the beginning of macular degeneration.
And that was the end of tennis.
And he says, as you get older, your body breaks down. Look at me, I'm 68 and I'm going bald. So she says, I'll lose my hair, you give me your eyes.
My name is Alan Taylor, and I was the director of the Laboratory for Nutrition and Vision Research at Tufts University, as well as a professor of nutrition and biochemistry, molecular biology, and ophthalmology. And I'm also the son-in-law of Honey Cronenberg, who's the star of the show. And as the son-in-law, I have a very different position from my day job.
Only recently has her vision loss been so severe that she's unable to engage in life. And that has really been profound for her and for the rest of us.
We went to one of her friends' house for a dinner party, and she had a little sculpture. She said, oh, I made that. So Honey said, gee, I'm going to try.
When I saw her sculpture, this is not Senior Citizen 101. I mean, she really, right off the chopping block crafted these beautiful sculptures.
I just started playing around with it and decided to make 3 women, each one a little different. And that's it.
I recall my mother as being very active and energetic and beautiful. We had a basement, semi-finished basement, and there were always art supplies in the basement. And my mother would go down there and paint, and we would use the paints and take them to school. And so there was always art around.
Made these 3. I like horses.
She worked for at Columbia University at the Manhattan Project. She trained as a teacher and taught junior high school. And she taught until she retired.
It has to do with 2 mothers, my mother and my wife's mother. My mother lived to a ripe old age of 108, and starting at about 98, she started to complain that she couldn't see us. And sure enough, by about 102 or 3, she really was unable to see much at all. And it turned out that even when we had her lenses taken out and replaced with perfectly clear plastic lenses, she was still unable to see because her retinas were damaged. So she had age-related macular degeneration. And now my mother-in-law, unfortunately, is losing much of her sight due to age-related macular degeneration. And whereas I have a lot of formal training about the disease, this is not always the most helpful when it comes to dealing with mothers and mothers-in-laws, where you just have to be patient and understand that they really are compromised with their ability to see. And therefore, you have to take many special precautions and give extra care.
When she moved to this facility, maybe 6 years ago, she said, okay, well, I can't really sculpt. I'll make friends. I'll do other things.
Losing my sight was not not a fun thing, but I couldn't see to sculpt anymore. That's it.
She tried bridge, and she got the cards with, oversized numbers, and she put up a sign and said, bridge playing for those with vision loss, and I joked with her that if she posted the sign, nobody could see it. And she tried to get a group of people together to play bridge, but it was very difficult because they really couldn't see the cards. And then she tried to sing in a chorus here. They have a chorus. And she realized she couldn't see the music, she couldn't see the conductor. She tried all kinds of things, and it didn't work.
When you make abstract art, doesn't matter whether it's a painting or a sculpture, it's in the eyes of the beholder.
She's doing aerobics with 70 and 80-year-old people, but she likes to just sit. She does those puzzles occasionally, and she listens to tennis, channel 266. Tennis is on 18 hours a day, and she sits there. She follows the noise. It goes bang, 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 and she's hearing the world's best tennis player.
Both my mother and my mother-in-law were very optimistic and lively people, and they loved life and loved sharing life. And I noticed that as they became more debilitated due to age-related macular degeneration, as well as getting older. I mean, after all, mobility is also pretty limited when you're pushing 100 years of age. And your hearing is also compromised. I think all these compromises together diminished their level of enjoyment of life and diminished the extent to which they can enjoy sharing life. And so it diminished their enthusiasm and their optimism, although they both tried very hard to remain as optimistic as possible. But at some point, life became a challenge to both of them. And they shared that challenge with us, and it was something we had to see to.
It's heartbreaking to look at what she's painting and not impose my own judgment of what she used to do and what she used to be capable of, and to see what the results are, and then to remind myself and step back and say, but that's okay. It's what we all can do now.
You realize that you have to put your concerns about your life out of the way and think about what they need, because they only have a limited amount of things they can do to make their life pleasant and possible. Whatever you do with them, it's their time. You do whatever they need for them. It doesn't matter what you feel. They have limits, and they can't get beyond those limits. So either you meet them on their level, or it's just a waste of time.
My concept of my mother as someone with such spirit, full of smiles and ready to go and do anything, that it was a bit of a shock to see her really not be able to function.
Started losing my vision. It was the end of the world. Can't see. What do you do?
She sort of realizes her limits. She's always looking where I am. They did some surgery on my leg and it got screwed up, so I got an aid for her because she likes to walk and I can't walk that far.
The memory loss is very, very recent. The hearing loss makes engaging difficult, because if you can't see, okay, you think, oh, I'll go to the movies and I'll listen. But if you can't hear, then you can't go to the movies. Okay, I can't read a book. We brought her audiobooks, but she couldn't hear them, or the sound is distorted. The combination made coming up with engagement very difficult, because she's physically active. She's physically able. She could, walk up a flight of stairs, but she can't see or hear.
It's important to invoke or bring to the elderly the very best technologies. I'd say hearing devices or special glasses or special computer programs that allow them to read or see. But I think we have to face the reality that those devices really have a limited lifetime. In other words, that it may help for a few months before the loss of hearing or the loss of sight gets worse to the point where the devices aren't always as helpful as we'd like them to be. And we who are unaffected have great hopes, but those who are affected, the elderly, really have a hard time with a lot of these devices because technologically they're difficult to use.
I call every night, and it's become increasingly difficult to have a conversation by phone. I can talk with her when I'm sitting next to her, but we can't have a phone conversation, so it's very limited to, how are you? I'm fine. You're fine. Okay, see ya. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Or what day are you coming? So it makes communication very difficult.
I take her with me wherever I go. If I say I'm going down to the doctor's office, she'll come with me. She depends a lot on me.
Jean is a godsend. We love you, Jean.
When we get back, we'll go straight to Fireside for the music.
Without Jean, I don't think she could function. She couldn't function alone. And he does it with such good spirit. So he's the primary caregiver and most important role player in this. My mother has friends call her, and they get frustrated. They call me. They say, I tried to call your mother. I really miss her. I wanted to talk to her, but I can't talk to her. So they call me and say, please tell her I called and I care about her and I wanted to talk to her. It's very challenging, and it's not going to improve. And that's heartbreaking.
When they want you to yell into their ear and get the point across of a discussion you're trying to have, make the thought simple, yell loud, be real close so they can see you, and be as empathetic as possible. And just be there as a real close friend.
You just have to go with the punches.
If they like flowers, bring them flowers. If they like to go out to eat, take them out to eat while you still can. The time is short, and it's important to use it well.
We get out, change the venue. And that's what we do.